Hey y'all, today we're going to be making a delicious apple pie with a homemade pie crust. These are your ingredients for your pie crust: white lily flour, salt, measuring spoons, Crisco, 2/3 cups of ice cold water, and 2.5 cups of sifted flour, with also a 9.5 baking dish, a pastry blender, and a sifter. Now, in that 2.5 cups of flour, we're going to add 1 cup of shortening. You want to wet the inside of your cup to get your shortening out of your cup easily. Some people complain about it not coming out easy, but you want to wet the inside of your cup. Do not dry it, just wet the inside of your cup. And then that shortening will come out very easy, as you can see here. Now, with that 2.5 cups of flour and 1 cup of shortening, you want to take your pastry blender and you just want to vigorously blend that shortening and flour together. You want to go along the sides of your bowl. You can go along in the inside, in the middle, but you more so want to go along the sides because you don't want a real tough pie crust. So you don't want to like knead it. You just want to go along the sides vigorously just to make sure that shortening and flour is well blended. And you want to just blend it and blend it and blend it until you get a crumb consistency. Now you can use shortening, butter, oil, whatever your choice is for your pie crust. It doesn't matter. It's your taste buds, whatever floats your boat. But you want to make sure you take this pastry blender and you want to blend that shortening in that flour until you get like a crumb consistency. You can use a food processor as well if you don't want to use your hands. If you use a fork or a knife, it could take longer, but with this pastry blender, it usually doesn't take that long. You want to make sure you scrape your pastry blender to get all the dough out of the nooks and crannies. But you definitely want to make sure you incorporate that shortening and flour together till you get a crumb consistency. It may take a few minutes because you want to make sure you get everything well incorporated. I hope everyone is having a blessed and amazing day. It's been raining all day. Can you see that? You got that crumb consistency. Now you want to add your 2/3 cups of ice cold water. I have ice in the cup, but I'm not going to put the ice in the bowl. I'm just going to pour the 2/3 cups of ice cold water into my bowl. Now what you want to do is you want to take that pastry blender and you want to blend that water into that dough. And you want to just keep blending and blending until you get like a pasty mass, like a Play-Doh consistency. Doesn't take nothing but a couple of minutes to get it to that consistency. Like I said, you don't want to blend it too much, just enough to get to that pasty mass Play-Doh consistency. Also, make sure y'all hit the subscribe button and hit that bell for the notifications so whenever I upload a new video, you will be notified. Okay, I'm almost there. Just stirring a little bit because there's a little flour at the bottom of my bowl. I just want to keep blending it until I get to that Play-Doh consistency. I'm almost there, y'all. Give me a minute. I'm almost there. We gonna get there. Like I said, scrape your pastry blender. Get all of that dough out of the nooks and crannies. You don't want to waste any dough. Like I said, it's gonna take a few minutes. Baking takes time. It's science, and it takes time. You don't want to rush through it, because you rush through it, you'll get rushed looking results. So you just want to make sure you take your time and do what needs to be done. You're cooking from your heart. And anytime you're cooking from your heart, it's gonna always show in the end. Okay, I'm almost at that Play-Doh texture. I'm gonna show y'all how it looks. See that? You wanna squeeze it in your hand. If you can get it to feel like Play-Doh, you are done. Now you wanna take some flour. Like I said, I'm using white lily. You can use whatever all-purpose flour you want to use, whatever you can afford. It's your choice. But I'm using white lily today. I'm gonna spread some flour on my surface because I don't want my dough to stick. I'm not rolling it out right now. I'm just taking it out of the bowl and separating it into 2 discs. One for my bottom dish and one for the top of the pie. You want the bottom crust to be a little bigger than the top. So you want to make sure your 2 discs, make sure one of your discs is a little bigger than the other, because that one that's bigger, that's the one that's going to go at the bottom of your baking dish. Now you want to take some cling wrap and you want to wrap both discs up individually. Flatten them out a little bit. And wrap them individually. And you want to place them in the refrigerator. You can place them in there for an hour, 2 hours, overnight, however long you choose to leave them in there. I'm putting mine in there just enough to make my pie filling. So they'll be in there a good 30, 40 minutes. Gonna take that second one, that smaller one, flatten it a little bit. Cover it with that cling wrap. Now we're gonna sit both discs inside the refrigerator while we get our pie filling together. Now for your pie filling, you're going to need 3 tablespoons of flour, 1 stick of Kerrygold butter, butter of your choice. I'm just using Kerrygold today, unsalted. 2 tablespoons of cinnamon, 1 cup of sugar, and I'm using 1 egg, but I'm gonna use the egg later. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do with the egg later. And you want 1/4 cup of water. It doesn't have to be cold, just 1/4 cup of water. And you want to use anywhere from 6 to 8 apples. I'm using Gala apples. You can use apples of your choice. I'm going to take 1 stick of butter, unsalted Kerrygold, and I'm going to melt that butter in that saucepan on a medium heat. Once that butter has melted a little bit in that saucepan, I will then add that 1 cup of sugar, that 1/4 cup of water, and those 3 tablespoons of flour. Like I said, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so y'all can get videos when I upload them. I really would appreciate it. Okay, we got about got that butter melted down before we add our cup of sugar, our 3 tablespoons of flour, and our 1/4 cup of water. Now we're going to add that 1 cup of sugar I was talking about. We're going to add those 3 tablespoons of flour. I should have sifted it, y'all, but 3 tablespoons of flour. And then that 1/4 cup of water. And then we're going to stir that vigorously and continuously over that medium-high heat. Like I said, I should have sifted that flour because you could see little smidges of flour, but don't worry, because once I get the whisk and it cooks, you won't be able to see that. I'm looking for my whisk now. Whisk, where are you? There you go. I'm just gonna take that whisk and I'm just gonna whisk that vigorously, continuously over that medium-high heat. And you want that sauce to come to a boil. This is a little different than what you normally do with your traditional apple pie. Just doing something a little different today, but it comes out amazing. It's almost like a caramel consistency and taste. But you want to bring this sauce to a boil because this is what we're going to coat our apples with. I'm going to keep stirring. Now it's at a boil. And once you get it to a boil consistency, you then want to remove it from the stove and let it cool. Now I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of cinnamon to my apples. You can use however many tablespoons of cinnamon you want to use. If you love cinnamon, hey, have at it. I'm using 2 tablespoons today because that is well over enough to give you that cinnamon taste on those apples. You want to take your spatula or whatever you choose to use, and you want to make sure you cover those apples completely with that cinnamon. Make sure you get all of that cinnamon on those apples. Remember, like I said, y'all, please subscribe. Please. It's my first episode, so y'all show some love and make sure y'all hit that bell so you can get the notification. So whenever I upload a new video, you will get first dibs. But like I said, make sure those apples are covered in that cinnamon. In just a second, I'm going to take those pie discs or crust discs out of the refrigerator so I can start on my pie crust for my dish in this good old apple pie. Okay, now I'm going to take some more flour. I'm going to sprinkle on the surface of my counter. You can use parchment paper. You can use whatever you want to use to put your flour in to roll your crust out on. My counter is very much so clean, so I'm using my counter. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that bigger piece of dough and I'm going to roll that bigger piece of dough out because, like I said, the bigger piece is the piece that's going to go at the bottom of your baking dish. You want to flour your pan. And you want to start rolling out. You want to roll as much as possible in a circular motion because you want to get like a circle. But y'all, that don't never work for me sometimes. So I just roll it out enough until I get enough to where it's big enough to cover the inside of my baking dish. But like I said, if you want to take your time and do it in a circle, you can do it in a circle. But I'm doing it the best way that I know how. Make sure you do it the best way that you know how. There's no wrong or right way. Just do what you do and do it well and do it with love. People think baking is so hard because you have to be perfect at doing it, but there's no perfect baking. There's always somebody better than the other. Somebody's stuff gonna taste better than the other. It's just what you choose to do, and as long as your loved ones love it, that's all that matters. And as long as you love it, that's all that matters. Like I said, you want to roll that dough out as far as you can get it to make sure it's going to cover the inside of your baking dish. And you also, at some point, want to get that baking dish and hold it over your pie crust to see if it's going to fit. Now you want to see, size it, see. I think I'm going to roll it out just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Just a little bit. Just a little bit more. Like I said, you don't want to do it too thin because you don't want your pie crust, you don't want your dough to split or break. But as thin as you can get it. I think that's going to be the right size. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my rolling pin and I'm going to take that dough and I'm going to ever so gently roll it onto my pan. I'm going to use my scraper just to make sure I get it from the bottom so it don't stick, because sometimes it does stick in spots that you didn't have flour in. So you want to ever so slightly roll that dough onto that rolling pin. If you don't have a bench scraper, make sure you get one. They are very useful. And you want to take your 9.5 baking dish and you want to take that rolling pin and you want to ever so gently, and get some more, make sure, want to be on the safe side. You want to ever so gently place that rolling pin over your baking dish and you want to ever so gently roll that pie crust into your baking dish. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. You want to lift up your dough so your dough can fall at the bottom and in the corners of your baking dish. You don't want to pull it too much. Just want to lift it up so it can fall. It will fall right in place. Just want to press it down just a little bit. Then you want to take your edges and you just want to bend your edges in. Just want to fold them in. You can cut them if you want to cut them, but I like to fold mine in because when I get ready to put my top layer on, I want to connect the two. Make sure you fold it in real good. Fold it. Fold it. Take off a little excess pieces. The little excess pieces that you have left, you want to take those excess pieces and you want to fill in those spots that may be a little thin than others. When you go around your dish, you may see a few pieces that's not as thick as the others. So you want to make sure you take those extra pieces and fill in those spots. Now you see that beautiful pie crust? Look at it. Look at it. Uh-huh. I did that. Yeah. Now I'm going to flour my surface again. But for that second one, I'm not going to show y'all how to do that one because I showed you how to do the first one. And it's pretty much the same way, same routine. Just want to make sure it's big enough to cover that top part. But right now, I'm going to take my apples and I'm going to take that sauce that I made earlier and I'm going to take that sauce. You see that film that's from it sitting there and cooling off? You could take that film and dispose of it. Remove it from the pot. It's not going to hurt it or anything. It's just the film from it cooling off. But you can definitely remove it. Now you want to take that sauce and you want to cover your apples with it. If you want to use more than 3 tablespoons of flour, you can. If you want your sauce to be a little thicker, I just use 3 tablespoons of flour. But like I said, you can use more, or even cornstarch if you want to use cornstarch. I just like flour because it's kind of like a different taste than cornstarch. But you want to cover that with your apples, and then you want to add that to your bottom pie shell. Make sure you don't get any of that sauce on the edges of your pie crust because then it will be hard to seal. So make sure you get as much of that apple pie filling in the middle of your pie shell as possible, as much as possible. And you just want to ever so gently spread those apples around that pie shell. But like I said, make sure you don't get any of that sauce on the edges of your pie crust because it will be hard to connect the two once you get ready to close your pie, seal your pie. It smells so good too. That cinnamon, that butter, all of that. It's just, oh, it smells so good. It smells like Christmas and Christmas and everything. It's just that cinnamon and apple smell. There you have it. The filling is in the crust. Like I said, I'm not going to show y'all how to do that top crust. It's the same way you do the bottom. I'll come back and show you how it looks once I roll it out and place it on top. I'll come back and show you exactly how it looks. Now that it's on top of the pie, you want to take whatever extra pieces that you have hanging off and you want to cut it. I don't think I'm going to use those extra pieces that I cut off because I'm at this point going to fold the top and the bottom crust together so I can seal that crust. At the beginning of this video, y'all, I'm going to show y'all how my grandma ate that pie up. Because I was supposed to put it at the end, but my editing, I'm just, learning how to do this. So, but I'm going to put it at the beginning of the video to show y'all how she ate that pie up, y'all. Once I get her stamp of approval, I'll be good anyway. Okay, now I'm going to take my 2 fingers on the outside and 1 finger on the inside, and I'm going to just ever so gently pinch those pieces together. And take my 2 fingers on the outside and take my finger on the inside and push my finger on the inside toward my 2 fingers on the outside to make what I like to call dimples. There's a name to it, but I like to call it dimples. Like I said, I call them dimples. But you just want to take your outside, pinch it into your inside. Take your inside and pinch it to your outside and create these cute little dimples for your pie. You can use a fork, to press it down the regular way, but I just prefer to do it this way just to give it a little slight professional look if I can. See that look? See how that look? See how cute that look? Look at there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some vents. I was going to cut them in strips, y'all, and I forgot because I was going to do the lattice effect, the lattice look, but I forgot. So I'm just going to cut some spots in the middle, some vents in the middle to let that pie filling breathe. When I put it in the oven, some of it still ended up coming from the sides, but long as before you take it out the oven, you see that pie filling boiling, that lets you know it's good and done. And when you get your crust to whatever consistency or color that you want it to either be golden brown or lightly golden brown, but you want to make sure your crust is done. Now you see I put these vents in the middle, and I'm going to show y'all what I'm going to do with that egg, which I should have put the vents in after I used the egg, but it's either or. Just make sure you don't put any of the egg wash on those vents that you cut, because it defeats the purpose. Okay, you want to take that egg wash, which was nothing but an egg, a little tablespoon of sugar, and a little bit of water, and you just want to ever so gently brush the top of your pie crust with that egg wash. Like I said, don't get in those vents because it's going to close it up, and then there's not going to be a way for your pie filling to breathe. I'm just going to get on gently on the top of those vents, because like I said, I should have did it first. Should have egg washed it first, then cut the vents. So the next time I do it, that's what I'm going to do. And when you do it, make sure you put your egg wash on first before you put your vents. And I'm going to bake it on 425 for 15 minutes without opening the oven. Then I'm going to turn it after those 15 minutes to 350, and then I'm going to bake it for another 45 minutes. Do not open the oven after those 15 minutes on 425. After 15 minutes, put it on 350, and you want to bake it for another 45 minutes. And there you have it, a delicious apple pie. It is so good, and it has the house smelling so good. You can smell those cinnamon and apples just boiling. That pie crust is so good. I'm going to cut a slice. I didn't wait until it cooled off. You want to wait until it completely cooled off. You can wait till it cool off overnight. Put it in the refrigerator, but I just want to show y'all just to give you an idea of how it looks. So I'm going to cut it before it completely cools. That's why some of the apples are falling out a little bit, because I cut it before it completely cooled. But like I said, if you want yours hot, hey, cut it hot. You want to let it completely cool, let it completely cool, put it in the refrigerator overnight. It's up to you. See, I'm shaking because, honey, I don't know. I don't know, baby. We finna see what she's giving. What is she giving? What is she giving? Is she giving apple pie? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Look at those apples. Look at that flaky pie crust, that homemade pie crust. Get into it and get you a piece. Gonna get the rest of those apples because I'm gonna eat all of that. Yes, ma'am. She eats all of that. Get into it. I'm gonna taste it. Let y'all know how it tastes. It's absolutely delicious. As you can see, those apples are already gone because they were so good. See that pie crust? I wish y'all was here so y'all can get y'all a piece because it is so good. Like I said, my grandma tore hers up. You'll see how she cleaned the plate at the beginning of the video. Make sure y'all hit the subscribe button. Make sure y'all hit that notification bell so y'all can receive notifications whenever I upload new videos. I want to thank y'all for tuning in to Aunt Grandma's Kitchen, baby. Yes. Okay, y'all, real quick. This is how it looked after it cooled. I did let it completely cool. You see that? See that flaky crust? I wasn't gonna do y'all like that. I was gonna show you how it looked after it cooled. Now get you a piece.
Our brains are incredible, but memory can be complicated. That's why we created Nariva Memory.
Grandma, it was good.
It supports your short-term,
No.
It was
long-term,
good.
and working memory. Take it